What a crazy day of footy that was. The Dragons and the Roosters in that first one. A nice win for St George. Didn't expect it, but they fought hard. They really tried hard the whole 80 minutes and got away with that one after playing a really nice first half. And it was too much to catch up for the Roosters. But thankfully, for anyone who held on to James Tedesco there with the 17% that owned him, he came back with a much better game and 13 tackle breaks. So would have been an extra 13 points for 76 if that was last year. But you're really happy with his output. 300 meters was crazy, and that included 2 line breaks, but no, nothing crazy in terms of full complete length of the field runs or anything like that. So Ted was back. Good to see after he's now averaging 44.4. So definitely not enough, but it shows that the wing fullbacks is a hard position to score in, and to get his 63 really helps you out. For a small amount, the 5% they're owning Sitili Tupanua gets a nice 58 and averaging 44 and made a little bit of cash this year, so that'll help you out as well. Sammy Verrills is back, so that was really interesting. He picked up 50 tackles and 53 metres in this one, and no missed tackles was a super effort there. So well done to Sammy, and he potentially becomes an option over the next few weeks. If he can continue to play that 65 approx minutes, then he could be someone to definitely look out for. Joshie Maguire with 55 in full 80 minutes on the edge. 8 tackle breaks and 4 missed tackles there. Rounds out for a 55, which was nice. Lomax is definitely becoming a potential keeper option. If there's a chance that he can play Origin in that centre role, it could be a Campbell Graham, these types of guys. But Lomax playing pretty good in a team that hasn't played great. So if they happen to go on a bit of a run also, he could be someone to come out and dominate there. But the 3 turnover tackles obviously bumps that up a little bit. Joey Manu there with 50, so a good game in the end for him. He tried really hard. 8 missed tackles was obviously a bit of a killer with the 3 line breaks and the try to go along with 5 tackle breaks and 158 metres. He was really solid there, and shows why he's a keeper in the centre and also the wing fullback. Benny Hunt with 48, so a little bit annoying again, even with his 2 try assists. He had a really nice game actually. Played good footy. 708 kick metres is crazy, but the standard 16 in negatives is killing him a little bit. With all those missed tackles and lack of run meters, to be honest, at 66. We're looking for him to be 90 to 100 plus there for Benny. So really annoying, that 48. Averaging 49.4 now, and he's pretty much priced at where he's averaging. So it's up to you what you want to do with him. If you do want to go him to a Cleary, for example, I wouldn't push you away from that. That average of under 50 is not good enough for the halves when there's so many good ones out there, especially when you can play Hines in there as well. You've got Clearys, the DCEs, and all the rest there that are scoring great. So Hunt could still have his big games, but he's becoming closer to an upgrade to a Cleary or Papali'i or these types of guys that are just averaging over 60 and really dominating. So for someone that's going to play Origin as well, it's something you need to think about over the next few weeks. Francis Molo with a 48, but at that price, he's not going to be too fantasy relevant. Kiri played a much better game, just very limited in terms of the negatives for him. Ran the ball a little bit more, which was good. Collins and Takeaho, decent scores, but not really relevant. Radley, 45, so he's made a little bit of cash there, but he's not someone I'd be looking to to push into your side at this stage. Suali'i with 40 there, so he had a much better game, had a really nice tackle there as well, which unfortunately hurt Jackie Bird, and he probably has a forearm fracture. So more on that to come over the next few days. Unfortunately, just letting you guys know, I'm making this video before this is the night of on Monday, and updates will be to come overnight. And so just be aware of that. If you're watching this video, there should be some updates, especially in the second game there. Sammy Walker there with 38 in his 80 minutes. So again, an average score. He still made a little bit of cash, but not the amount that people would have wanted. Angus Crichton's a big one here. So got the full 80 minutes, but just 48 meters run. So there must be something going on, because he's just not getting the ball that he is used to getting. Like, you look in the last couple of years, he's averaging around 150 run meters and just not getting that at the moment. The tackles and the missed tackles is pretty normal, but he usually has the tackle breaks and the offloads there. So really strange for Crichton. I'd still be holding off on him yet. We haven't seen him score anything over 50 yet. So for someone who usually scores around that 60 mark, he just hasn't hit that anywhere near that mark this year. And I think that you need to leave him out until that happens. And a few picked him up, obviously, this week. And unfortunately, you could have picked up like the Josh Jacksons and these guys ahead of Crichton. And I'd continue to look at that over the next few days, especially. Spoke about Bird getting injured. Looks like he's probably going to be out for an extended period with a forearm fracture there. So look to move him on if you haven't already. There's obviously still a smallish amount of 7% that own him. If we're looking a little bit lower there, we've got Amone with 9 points. So played the full 40 minutes. He's not going to be a relevant option across the season. And Fainai as well with 5 points in his 80 after playing really, really good. So he'll all his money making will go down the drain, that's for sure. We moved to this last game, and the Port Warriors, there was 16-10 at halftime and a 54-point straight half for the Storm, and shows what all these guys can do if you put them together against an easier opponent. Unfortunate for the Warriors there, but Storm were just too good. And the Warriors were I think it was 8 minutes left, though. They'd completed 1 of 4 sets in the second half. So, yeah, incredible from the Storm. And obviously the big dogs are going to score here. You got Munster with 81. You got Pat with 80. Coates got the 4 tries there and 200 metres for 68. You got Hughes for 65 and Grant for 63. So all the big dogs there doing their thing. If you had any combination of Grant, Pat, Munster, or Grant, Pat, Hughes, or whatever you've got, then you really dominated coming to this last game. You'd be really happy with where you end up ranking and what you end up scoring for the last game. So not too much to say on these guys. We spoke about Munster being a dominant player in this league at 62 average. We got Grant at 63. Pap coming back with a nice big one after a couple of random low games, and he even got a 12-minute rest in there. I spoke about Hughes as being a guy that you should be holding on to, and not moving him on for Cleary. Obviously, if you've traded him for Cleary, you've got an extra 20 points this week, but you're going to want Hughes over the Origin period anyway. And these are the things that he can do against lesser sides. He's going to come out and dominate, especially when Munster's gone as well. So just keep him in mind as well for those guys that don't own him, as he could definitely be a potential option over the next bunch of weeks. So Just Savanga got 54, so played big minutes in a 13 role, but they lost Curran and a few other things there. So I wouldn't be looking at him as an option. Brandon Smith came back with a much bigger game here, 71 minutes. It came on early when Nelson went off, and then maintained the rest of the game there. Big minutes for him, and also Josh King, which we'll speak about in a second, which is interesting. But Smithy's getting really cheap, and that 49, if he can continue that going forward into the Origin period, then he could be an option as well. Ewan Aiken with 47, so a nice try saver there on Paps, unfortunately. But the 35 tackles, only 50 metres run. So again, they're not giving him the ball enough. He's a decoy a lot of the time. And they're not that strong on that left edge anyway, so it should give him the ball a little bit more, which was happening at the back end of last year, and he was scoring a lot of tries. So a bit of a strange one with Aiken, but take the 47. He's still a keeper in the centres, averaging 49, so he's had a great year so far. Made over 100k, and he's completely done his job. I think you just continue to hold on to Ewan over the next bunch of weeks. Olam and Meaney both with good scores. So King there with 45, and he ended up coming back on because Pat went off, so got some extra minutes. He was about that 40 mark anyway. Didn't have to do much the last 5-10 minutes with the tackling. So he was their biggest tackler through the first half of the game when Warriors did have a fair bit of ball. So well done if you held on to King. That 45 just halts any price losses. And if you can get a few more of them, then he'll go up in price over the next few weeks as well. So interesting that one for King. It was just a one-off week last week where he had a bad one. So judge him on the past performances before rather than just that 1 week. But I understand why people moved him on if he was someone that's had peaked in price a little bit. But I hope you went Kurt Mann over King and use that extra cash, for example. All right, a little bit lower down, we got Fanua Blake. He ended up playing 55 minutes for 32, which was a little bit annoying. He came on near the end there and just didn't do much. Obviously, they didn't have the ball much. He was just a bit of a passenger for his second stint, just with the Storm scoring so much. So a bit of an annoying one. Again, if you're holding him through this section of the season, then you're really waiting for him to get to Origin. You can play him then. Joshy Curran with 42 minutes. So he had 31 points. So he's doing really well. Plenty of tackling in that first half, running a little bit on that edge, which was interesting. But it looks like he was in a really bad brace. So one of those straight braces, which means it's probably, I think what they were saying is probably MCL. So if he's out for 4 weeks or so, you probably have to move him on. At that price, it's just very hard to hold on to someone for that long. But it's probably all I got to say on Curran. We'll find out a little bit more over the next few days. But if he is out for about that 3 to 4 weeks, you're probably going to have to move him on, especially if you're sitting with like 25, 26 kind of trades there. All right, Walshy's going to continue to go down in price. He hasn't only lost 19k so far, but he'll lose a little bit more over this next section. He was actually scoring all right coming into that first half, and then just things went downhill from there. He kicked for 300 meters, which is pretty cool. So he's definitely going to be an option at some point, but let's wait until closer to Origin till we think about him. Shawnee Johnson with a low game, unfortunately. Not many people own him. Jesse Arthurs with 16 now. So 2 low scores in a row is really going to start to plummet his price and those gains that you made on him. So just be aware of that and hope that over the next bunch of weeks they have better games and they play better. And he will be able to pick up a try or a try assist or something like that in there going forward over the next few weeks. Anyone else, there's not really anyone to speak about. Wishart didn't get the start. And Remus Smith is not fantasy relevant. So there you go, guys. That's that update video. I just did this the night before, just because I'm busy tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you took a lot out of that. Please subscribe if you're new, and hit like as well. And we'll see you in that next bunch of videos across the week. We're heading into round 8, and there's going to be a fair bit of chat around Origin coming into this one and preparing for that. So got a few good little things to speak about, and we'll go from there. See you, team.